Hi, I'm Chaplain Johnson from the Spiritual Care Department here at Christian Hospital. And once again, we are grateful for the opportunity to share in our Monday morning meditation. This Monday morning is a special Monday morning because it is the Monday morning in which we celebrate Memorial Day, a national holiday here in the United States of America. And while doing so, we want to salute and celebrate all of our fallen heroes, those who have given their lives in support and care and preservation of the U.S. Constitution and this system of government that we have found ourselves cherishing for over 200 plus years. I am grateful for the privilege of being able to share with you this morning on this Monday morning meditation with a special shout out to our administration for offering us the opportunity to be able to share in these moments. Thank you so much for the privilege of sharing with our dedicated staff, caregivers, and those who serve our hospital community in all places, in all ranks. You are always, as I say every week, you are loved, you are appreciated, and certainly you are irreplaceable. There's no one like you. You are a special lot of people. And so we are grateful for you. Well, today's Monday morning meditation is, again, I mentioned, one that speaks to us about Memorial Day. And I want to give it a title, if I could, Making Memorial Day Memorable. It was once said, I don't know who said it, by an anonymous individual that says, if you want people to forget something, make a memorial, and they will soon learn how not to remember what they should. And so that we don't want to be accused of having a day or a moment in which we have made a memorial but have forgotten the meaning of it. So let me take a few moments to share these words that I pulled off from uh, our own government, the Office of Public and Intergovernmental Affairs. It's a statement about Memorial Day. 3 years after the Civil War ended, on May 5th, 1868, the head of an organization of Union veterans, the Grand Army of the Republic, established Decoration Day as a time for the nation to decorate the graves of the war dead with flowers. Major General John A. Logan declared that day Decoration Day, and that it should be observed on May 30th. It is believed that day was chosen because flowers would be in bloom all over the country. The first large observance was held that year at Arlington National Cemetery across the Potomac River from Washington, D.C. The ceremony centered around the morning draped veranda of the Arlington Mansion, once the home of General Robert E. Lee, and various Washington officials, including General and Mrs. Ulysses S. Grant, presided over the ceremonies, and after speeches, children from the Soldiers and Sailors Orphan Home and members of the GAR, the Grand Army of the Republic, made their way through the cemetery, strewing flowers on both Union and Confederate graves, reciting prayers and singing hymns. I found that interesting because the history of Memorial Day sometimes gets lost, and it is believed that it started in other places as a memorial for those in a local area to remember their war dead. But it is also important and imperative to know the time and dates and the moments in which Memorial Day emerged after this country in the United States had gone through the worst carnage of its own history ever in war. That those in the war between the states that found themselves now a few years removed, uh, remembering what kind of heinous, awful, destructive uh, happenings that had taken place in the country. There was great mourning and remembrance after the dust settled and the smoke cleared all the hatred and vitriol that divided the nation had now settled, and we looked over as a country over all the damage we had done to ourselves. And there was a call for healing. Memorial Day then was such a call to be able to drape on both sides of the debate and of the war, Confederate and Union soldiers, to be able to say to the nation, we must heal. And in light of the place where our country is now, so divided, and these calls for vitriol, hatred among us, there must be a call to remember. And not simply have a Memorial Day, but to remember what is so important about that day. It was a remembrance of not only how we had fought wars overseas, but that we had fought ourselves, even to the destruction of our families and those around us, brothers and family and cousins, fighting against each other on the battlefield, only to discover that in the end of it, only thing that happened is that we lost each other and shed blood on this very soil. When I reflect on the events of January 6, 2021, my heart goes out and breaks because I feel the tenor of that history, and I wish we could remember Memorial Day. Memorial Day is such a day that calls us to reflect and think about some very important things. When I was a kid, I learned in maybe perhaps Sunday school, I can't remember how old I was, this little song. And it comes from the epistle, John's first epistle, 1 John chapter 4, verses 7 and 8. And it goes like this. It's a little ditty. Beloved, let us love one another. For love is of God, and everyone that loves is born of God and knows God. The person that loves not does not love God, for God is love. Beloved, let us love one another. 1 John 4, 7 and 8. It is interesting that as we are finding ourselves in this place of remembering, there are some really important things that we should know and do on this Memorial Day. First, I want you to know it is a day of reflection. It's a day of reflection. I thought about Memorial Day. I thought about how to express it, how to share a little bit about it, and I won't keep you long here, but I think it's important to know that reflection is a time of serious thought and consideration, that we should take time to remember Memorial Day. In 2000, there was a commission and an offering by Congress and presented to the president how to put the memory back in Memorial Day. And there is a call for 3 p.m. on Memorial Day that everyone would stop for a moment of silence to pray for those who are our veterans and who have died on the battlefield and have done those things which are necessary to preserve and to uphold the Constitution. It is important to know that their sacrifice was not in vain. And for those of us who are aware that so many, those who have been immigrants, those who were brought here to be placed in chattel slavery, those who found themselves who are here, found themselves on the same battlefield fighting against enemies, foreign and domestic. It's interesting that it's important to reflect. But not only is it a day of reflection, it is also a day of reclamation. Yes, reclamation. There is a moment in time in which we are called upon to reclaim back what we have forgotten and reclaim back the heritage that brought us to the place where we are. In 1 John 4:7, there is a reminder by the writer of 1 John of what some of the believers had forgotten, that we should love one another. And everyone that loves is born of God. It is impossible to say that we love God and not love our neighbor or not love those who are around us, not love our friends, not even love our enemies. We are called to love one another. For love is of God, and everyone that loves is born of God, and they know God. The person who does not love does not know God. Simple as that, for God is love. It is a moment of reclaiming what sometimes we lose. Life is difficult. We are encountered with evil and trouble and difficulty on every hand, challenges that challenge the very soul of a nation and our very hearts. It's very difficult to see a loved one who is sick or mistreated or broken or killed or murdered and not have and anger and the desire for vengeance in our heart. But love is better than that. And for those of us who are Christian believers, we know that we're called to love that way. Not with ignorance, not with naivete, but love that transforms. Love that takes our enemies and treats them as if they were our brothers and our sisters. Yes, love. Love that is powerful and transformative, and it changes them, not because we endorse what they do, but we know that this love is more powerful than the evil that is in the world. Jesus says this, in this world you will have tribulation, but remember, I have overcome the world. Radical love that challenges people to be their best self, to be able to speak truth to power, and to share with those who may not have done us right, to be able to say to them, it's important and I care enough about you to tell you the truth so that you can correct course. Because there is someone who sits high and looks low and who watches the affairs of men and women. Yes, it's a day of reflection, a day of reclamation, but also a day of reconciliation. Yeah. Remember how I started this discussion. Memorial Day was set to be a day in remembrance and reflection after the Civil War. Not a day in the life and the history of America until after those who had buried the dead looked around and saw how horrible it was for a nation to have to go to war over something that was so wrong, American chattel slavery. But it was necessary because if God were to bless the nation, we would have to do right, even reflecting on how we had done so wrong for so long. As a nation, it's that way, but for our individual lives, it's that way. Memorial Day should not just be something out there, a historical event, but it should be a moment in which we reflect on the broken relationships, the broken connections, and how much it has taken in sacrifice, even through the point of bloodshed, to be able to put us in a place where we can have a conversation about who we are as people. To, yes, reflect, to reclaim the relationships that are lost, and to reconcile and bring ourselves back together. This Memorial Day, I hope that you have time to laugh and have a great time, enjoy family, eat to your heart's desire, whatever that is, barbecue or whatever you do. But make sure you take time to remember. Such things did not come easy. They came at great sacrifice, not just for the war dead after the Civil War, but for the millions of people who maybe died in different ways, died in spirit, died in mind, died in soul, because they never were able to remember. Let's remember. Let's put the memory back in Memorial Day. It is that day and those things that are most important for us to remember. I was sharing with a friend of mine the other day as I close about something that my son, a moment I had with my son when he was just a little boy. He was just old enough to talk. He could remember some things. He could say some things, but he was just learning. I believe he may have been 2 years old. And there, I was picking him up from daycare, and we were driving home in the storm. It was a dark, dreary day. But there, we looked in the sky, and there was a rainbow. And I was so excited, and so was he. And he just kept marveling at the rainbow. And so I proceeded to tell him the story of the rainbow from the biblical point of view in Noah's Ark. A reminder that we are still in the promise of God. And as I look after stormy days and difficult nights and hardship and a pandemic and death and destruction and war and violence, I am reminded that God still sends rainbows to marvel at, to look at, like a 2-year-old staring out of a window, wondering why life could be so beautiful. On the dark side of life, there's always a rainbow to follow. Keep looking, keep remembering. It is a moment of memorial to know that your life has meaning. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to sharing with you for another Monday morning meditation. Thank you once again. Remember, as I started, that you are loved, you're appreciated, and you are irreplaceable. So all of you who are our staff, our community, our patients, your families, thank you for allowing us to serve and care for you. Bye.